Hey guys, I'm noticing to my surprise that these new phones don't seem to put the date, put the time, but they don't put surprisingly enough, they don't put the day of the date, Thursday, January 2 or something, whatever it is. Very surprising to me. I wouldn't have thought they'd pull that. But here we are. Living the dream, as I like to say. I'm trying to find some way to hold this. Yes, it has some ugly image at the bottom, but I can't do much about it. I don't have the expensive equipment. I can't figure out how to do things. I just have to do them as I go along, and this is this thing here I'm using as a camera holder right now is what I've come up with so far. Food is cold now. Well, God, still good, but no matter how many times I've heated this up twice, no matter how many times I heat it up, I always get sidetracked and waylaid and to the point that I think today's Thursday, and it might be, I don't know, it might be the 18th maybe, or 19th. I'm going to put that in. 12:01 p.m. or a.m. rather. And I think the phone I used in there might be the silver phone. Don't remember. We were doing the barkeeper's friend test. And so now I'm recording right now on you. I forgot. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, well, I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to ask Gemini on a different phone if there's something. There's too much cold wind in here on this fan. It's on the lowest setting, but no, it wasn't on the lowest setting. It was on the yeah, I don't know what the hell. Alright, so now it's I turned both fans off. I'm still here. I'm trying to do stuff instead of just go to sleep. If I went to bed, I wouldn't be able to sleep anyway. I try that every night. I go in there and lay down like I'm almost human, and that I know how to sleep. It really does any good. All right. Okay. You're the recording camera, okay? I gotta figure out a way to get these socks out of here, but I don't dare mess with this while I'm recording, so. Alright, so you're the recording camera. You gotta record my voice and Gemini's voice and the other stuff, the images involved, etc. I'm turning on the phone, I'm turning on the white phone. Take it a minute to boot up like anything. While it's doing that, I'll give you some unrelated news. The CEO of NVIDIA, the other day, I'm going to try to find it again and watch it more closely, seemed to be going into the public, doing a public demo with a computer, a little portable computer in his hand, which he said was their new supercomputer. Now, I was talking to a friend on the phone about this. I said, maybe it's a quantum computer. He said, no. My friend said, no, there's no such thing yet as a portable, personal, portable, small quantum computer because of the nature of the quantums. They haven't, I mean, they will someday, like they always do, but they haven't yet figured out how to miniaturize the quantums. It's like back in the day when the first TVs were there. They had these big tubes, literally tubes that had a wire through it like a light bulb. And that was one of the things that made the TV operate. Of course, over the years now, you've got what would have been called a television inside my phone, along with what would have been called a telephone inside my phone, with what would have been called a camera inside the phone, all working together in a thing that's smaller than my pancake lunch at IHOP. When you're an older person, you look back on your early life, no matter what era you're in, and you see how people lived lives 40, 50, 60 years ago. And then now, whenever now is, it's always like, well, things have changed so much. Technology has advanced so much. Things are so different. And if you try to tell it to young people of any era, they're like, really, Daddy? Really, Grandpa? The television was a big object that had to sit on the floor. It wasn't just part of my cell phone in my hand. I don't know. It makes me wonder, and I've said this before, and I'm trying to get myself on record as one of the few people who thought to say this. What happens after the AI revolution? After the singularity is old news. After robots are so good you can't tell the difference when you're talking to one or in bed with one or anything else. That'll all happen over the next, somebody says 100 years, but it'll probably be like 10 minutes the way things are going. But after all of that, time is going to still march on. There may or may not be humans left, or you may have evolved into something that's unrecognizable. Some person who will be 10 years old this year may look back, they'll probably have a lifespan of 150 years by then, look back 100 years later or 120 years later and go, wow, when I was a kid, human beings used to be a separate organism. Just they walk around and do stuff like shop and play cards and stuff. And then their kids or their grandkids would say, really, Grandpa? People used to be a separate thing? Really? How would that have worked? I don't understand. I can't visualize. Anyway, kids, I gotta make some more videos about everything else because I am so far behind in my business that I was laying in the dark tonight trying to figure out, what do I do? Do I just quit? There's so much to do, or what? And it's gonna sound really corny and really 1930s-ish, but I think God's helping me recently try to run my business. And I think he or she or it said, just look at all the stuff you have to do and prioritize it, like anybody would think to do, except me, of course. Just find the one most important thing and do that. And then go on to the next very most important thing and do that. So, given that, rather than post a bunch of the videos I've made, which I don't have time to do, I would love to find a VA who could do it if, in fact, we could figure out the mechanics of them sticking their nose in all my accounts, because we always post on my accounts. I guess we could post on their accounts. Seems like the most important thing for me to do is like go through the sales activity I've done in the last couple of days and see to whom I said, oh yes, I will call you, or I'll put you on the schedule for Thursday at 9 o'clock, or whatever the hell I've said. Because that would lead to, those are the ongoing active potential customers. And someday I hope to get the nerve cojones to charge some people, or the universe shifts in a way that people unilaterally go, golly, Mark, you've been doing this for 23 years helping people like that. I think me and my husband are going to give you a nickel just to say thank you for all you've done here for the community. So, yeah, because one lady the other day said she was going to start, and I guess I can say her name, Robin Edelman. She said she was going to start telling her friends that she referred to me to consider giving me like $30 for all the free videos I will do for them. Because I've had some people on for 9, 10, 11, 15 shows. And it's fun, I mean, I love doing it. Glad I found it to do. So glad I'm not just an old man sitting in a chair, doing either absolutely nothing, like staring at the wall, or only watching reruns of their favorite shows. I love watching reruns of my favorite shows, but I don't want that to be the only thing I'm doing in life, so. All right. I also don't know how many views I'm getting lately. I'm not posting my stuff to social media, my own stuff, as I don't have the time, bandwidth, etc. But I'm still posting my guests stuff, shows. Although I've cut back, I used to post for them 15 times. 3 sets of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Pinterest. Now I do 5. Only 1 set. And I figured out the other night, in the middle of my sleep, which is when I often get one of my better ideas. In the middle of my sleep, I figured, okay, they do their show, I close the taping, it gets digitally sent to Zoom, then I need to take it from Zoom and put it on my desktop in order to post it to YouTube. I don't think Zoom lets us go right from Zoom to YouTube. That would be news to me. So we do all that, and it lifts up to, or loads up into YouTube. And it takes just a few minutes, and then once it's loaded, one of the last things it does is it brings up the standard, typical YouTube dialog box with the various social media places where you can automatically share from YouTube. Automatically being you click some stuff. And so I thought, well, I usually just close that box and go on and then go back later and post for them. But if I were to just post for them right then, I'm already in the middle of doing all this stuff. If I would post for them right then, And if I would say our policies change, we only post for you these five times, once these places, then as far as that video is done, I'm done. I don't have to go back and post it. I don't have to keep a record of, I used to make these records. I'd make a list of all the people I posted in the last 2 or 3 days, and I'd send all that out to them in an email, which meant I had to write the email. I had to list all the shows, et cetera, et cetera. And then I was keeping another chart of all the shows individually and when they'd been posted and all that. All that stuff can get jettisoned into the Gobi Desert as far as I'm concerned. We can just do, post their show, their brand new show, onto YouTube where it's going to live. And in that same process, do the one-time posting to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Tumblr. And then that show, in terms of my interacting with that digital object, is done. If people want to come into the YouTube channel and see it, and watch it, great. So I'm going to try that for a while, see if it works. I think it will, but proof is always in the pudding. I like to keep a quasi-scientific mindset that I try things in my business. If they don't work or they don't work for the client, we figure out something. Well, people can always pay me an extra $89 to have me do 3 more sets of 5 each. So we have 3 levels of service plus several or even many a la carte services that they can pull out of the panoply of cornucopias and say, I'd like to do this, or I'd like you to get me 2,000 or 3,000 views. Well, fine, pay me $150 and I'll do that because part of a business. I've been developing in the background these relationships with various companies that do that. They charge a fee, so I can pay them to do it. That's all. It's all there. I can't help but think that, we've been at this, since about September or October of 2023, and officially since January of 2024, so that's not even 2 years yet. And a lot of places I've read about a business, they say it takes about 5 years to really get it up and running. So for having done it for maybe 18 months, even though it's been rocky and hard, and even though I don't see very much progress, I feel like we're making a little progress. We're not going backwards, Our progress is very slow and very bumpy, but we're not going backwards. So the joy of ice water. The joy of ice water. I love ice water. It makes me remember my dear, lovely wife. God rest her soul. She passed away in 1995 at the age of 60. We were married 13 years. Her name was Carol. Her full name was, if I can say it right, Carol D. Hayes Maloney Potter. So, birth name was Carol D. Hayes. She was married 25 years or so to a man named Jim Maloney, a nice guy. They got divorced. 7 years after they were divorced, Carol and I met, and a year after we met, we got married, and we were married 13 years. So she was married 36 of her 60 years. And she had 3 kids by Jim, 3 lovely ladies, women, very smart, very powerful, very attractive. I mean, just you couldn't ask for anything else in kids. So, all right, well, I'm eating my peaches. Next thing I got to do is, and I did break everything today to help my housemate Homestead. She had some things she needed to get ready for a doctor, and I helped her with that. I think I'll go into my Zoom and try to find those sales calls, or go into my notes and find records of what I have or have not said to clients or prospective clients or future clients or past clients, that commitments that I made. So that's probably the next step. I am tired, but I don't usually doesn't do me any good to lay down. Sometimes I even go and lay down, and I just lay there for 5-7 minutes and get back up again. So it's not like it's going to help if I lay down. I'm just tired. I'm tired all the time, and I'll be tired tomorrow and the next day. All right, kids, I'm going to close you out. I've learned to not go on for hours and hours. It